In 1868, a surveyor from the Central Pacific Railroad rode into town. He was there for a very important meeting, a meeting about a train station. Only this meeting, it wasn't with Myron Lake, and this town was not what would become Reno. No, this very important meeting about a train took place in Glendale. And a lot was hanging in the balance. If this meeting was a success, Reno would never become more than a bridge. We're going to rewind it back to the beginning for this one. 11 years prior to this incident, before anyone even thought that a train that could cross the Sierras would ever be possible. I am walking down the crossroads of history right now, where we're standing at what was the convergence of three major trails. To the right of me was the California Trail, leading out of the barren, waterless graveyard that was the 40-mile desert. In front of me was the Virginia Road, the very road that would take people from Glendale to Virginia City. Behind me, where the man, the myth, the legend, Jim Beckworth himself met pioneers as they were coming on over for some gold and personally led them over his new Beckworth Trail to California. Now, if you don't know much about Jim Beckworth, you need to. So I'm walking across the bridge, not just any bridge, but the bridge, the one bridge, the only bridge, the very first bridge over the Truckee. Two gentlemen by the name of John F. Stone and Charles Gates affixed a squatter's claim to some land on the bank of the Truckee River. And it wasn't long before the two entrepreneurs opened up a trading post where they would swap supplies and whiskey for cash and broken down livestock. Operating the only trading post at the convergence of three of the most popular routes proved very lucrative, and within months their trading post grew into a permanent store and crossing. At Stone and Gates, they didn't stop with the store, they built themselves a bridge. Now obviously this isn't the original structure. The original structure was a ferry that was a pull and rope ferry. Prior to their ferry, the hundreds and thousands of immigrants had to forge the river in wagons. To cross the river in a wagon, it was not an easy feat. It could take up to a week to have a wagon party cross the river. And they set up a toll franchise, charging people to come over the Truckee River. Now this bridge was pretty good for itself. And Stone and Gates, as this whole area was to be called, was very lucrative for the two gentlemen. Considering at the time that this was the only bridge across the Truckee River, needless to say, Stone and Gates Crossing was busy all the time. 1860, the year of the Bridge Wars. A man named Charles Fuller came down from Honey Lake and built another toll bridge, right where the corner of 1st and Virginia Street are today. A third toll bridge popped up at Stout's Crossing, but Stone and Gates Crossing remained unchallenged in the Bridge Wars. This little crossing grew quick, and in 1860, the population of the Truckee Meadows had grown to 543. We're standing as we are on McCarran, near the corner of Stanford, where the main part of Glendale was. Within months of the silver discovery, Stone and Gates Crossing had 2 stores, a market, a blacksmith shop, and several saloons. 1862, it seemed it would take nothing short of a natural catastrophe to stop this town from rising. Oh wait, a natural catastrophe did happen. Because 1862, well, that was the year of the Great Flood. The largest flood in California, Oregon, and Nevada. And California has reported it as the worst disaster to ever strike, even to this day. When it was all said and done, the damage was massive. All 3 bridges were completely washed out. 4,000 people had died during the flood, one of which was Stout from Stout's Bridge over where Mayberry is today. But the townspeople of Stone and Gates Crossing, they don't let a little thing like a devastating flood keep them down. No, they just built bigger and better. And the first thing on the list rebuild the bridge over the Truckee River. But this time, Stone and Gates decided to shut down the competition, and they constructed a free bridge, making it the first free bridge across the Truckee River. The combination of free bridge, surrounding ranches, and a busy village caused Stone and Gates to maintain a position as the valley's northern metropolis. So naturally, in 1864, when there had finally become enough children to warrant a school, it was the only suitable choice. The new school was built by Archie Bryant at the cost of a total $1,446 and began accepting students in 1864. In front of what was the Chebang. I know, you're thinking right now, the coolest name of a bar ever? And yes, it was the coolest name of a bar ever. And it was the rowdiest, the roughest, the rootinest, the tootinest bar this side of the Truckee River. And what happened right here in 1867, that's what made this spot infamous. Because this was the one spot where the murder of David Caldwell happened. And he lay dead right in this spot. What happened? 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a beautiful sunny day, right about the same time we're standing here right now. David Caldwell and a half dozen of his friends came riding into town, and they stopped right here at the Chebang Saloon for an afternoon drink. Joseph Stanley, the town bartender, wasn't so happy that these gentlemen came in. Why, do you ask? Well, that's because one of these gentlemen sold Stanley a bad cow. You heard that right, the cow was lame. So in a true Wild West style, he jumped over the bar, grabbed David Caldwell, and the two of them went crashing down on the floor, through the window. Things broken, chairs broken. It was a true Wild West fight. One of Stanley's friends pulled the two men apart. Now David Caldwell had turned around, and at that very moment, Joseph Stanley picked up a knife and he stabbed Caldwell in the back, penetrating his heart. David Caldwell fell dead instantly. Stanley went, he wiped off the murder weapon on his apron, and he continued to serve dinner while Caldwell's dead body lay right in the doorway. As everyone just continued eating, pretending like it had never happened, the sheriff came all the way from Washoe City, and by the time he got there, it was 2 in the morning. It took him almost 12 hours to reach Glendale. So they held him at the jail in Washoe City for about a year, until the townspeople of Glendale, well, they needed their bartender back, because bartenders don't just grow on trees, right? They made a petition. They took it down to Washoe City. They handed it to the sheriff, and it said, "You let Stanley out of jail." The sheriff did. He let him out. You heard that right. Joseph Stanley walked a free man. Came back here to the Chebang Saloon. He did pack up shop, and he moved away for greener pastures. And the town lost their bartender again. By 1867, the little hamlet had a good bridge, public market, multiple stores, several saloons, a butcher shop, 2 blacksmiths, drugstore, Chinese laundry, post office, school, 3 hotels, including the large Glendale Hotel. It was described as having fine orchards by the wayside, tree-lined streets, lush farms, and inviting swimming ponds. At night, they would hold grand dances with live music, and liquor was only sold in the bar downtown on Saturdays. Eventually, the ideal town had outgrown the name Stone and Gates. The name Glendale was chosen by Mr. John Lacrombie, who owned the general store and ran the post office. He chose Glendale after the large hotel in town, the Glendale. The only downfall that Glendale had was the annual flood of the Truckee River. But the happy townspeople felt that the yearly occurrence was a small price to pay. And Glendale had not a worry in the world after they had been chosen to get the brand new Virginia train station. So So on that fateful day when 1868, when the gentleman from the railroad rode into town, he was there for a meeting, which was going to be taking place at the Grand Glendale Hotel. The only problem? When the surveyor showed up, the hotel was under 4 feet of water. As the Truckee River had just had its annual flood, the meeting was stopped before it even began. The surveyor said there's no way he could put a train station in a flood zone. Jumping on the opportunity, Myron Lake, who had previously bought Fuller's Bridge, offered up his property, which was a little bit higher than Glendale. And just like that, the new Virginia station was built at Lake's Crossing, which wasted no time in changing its name to Reno and selling off choice lots. And Reno grew quick, and it became the industrial center of the Truckee Meadows. And most of Glendale's businesses relocated to the newer town. Although the train might run a straight line by the river today, it didn't back in 1868. The Central Pacific originally lined tracks down what is modern Prater Way, completely bypassing Glendale and thwarting any hope it had to even be a depot station. Years went on, Glendale slowly faded away into the distance. What little of Glendale was left completely fell into obscurity with the creation of the new town of Sparks in 1903. Many of the Glendale ranchers sold their land to be developed. They even had the bodies from the old Glendale Cemetery removed and placed in the Hillside Cemetery in Reno. The one institution that lived the longest in Glendale was the old schoolhouse, which continued educating kids all the way up until the 1950s. And the old schoolhouse still stands today as a testament of a bygone era, a simpler life, and the town by the Truckee that the world forgot. Whoa, 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 whoa. This train don't carry no stokers. This train, my Lord, this train don't carry no stokers. This train, my Lord, this train don't carry no stokers. No snuff dippers on the back of smokers. Lord, 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 Lord. Whoa, 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 whoa. Vance is with me. He's my muscle today. We are headed to try to find the Chebang. If you had a bar and it was called the Chebang and you wanted to put it in this spot, where would you put it?
All right, so that's the fluvial plain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this would be the fluvial plain.
Okay.
See the sparkle of the river, and you see it's bowing this way. This is the fluvial plain. I got you. Look where the water was recently, because these are recent grasses, and it flooded all the way up to there, and you can see there's even mud splashed on the wall.
We're in the flood zone, yeah. So, Vance, based on what you just told me, science-wise, I would go right there.
Spot. Oh, yes, most definitely.